When the final bell rings, there is only one place to go.
Wrestling Unwrapped.
To the max!
Welcome, everyone, to Wrestling Unwrapped to the Max. We are talking Backlash 2016. I am ready for this, guys. We are here and
Hold
ready.
on, you might want to say that again because my mouse click was not working. It kept playing the song while you were doing the. I was like, okay, I'm pressing this, and you are not turning off. What is wrong here?
Don't you love technical issues? Well, anyway, hopefully that'll be the last one we have tonight, guys. Welcome, everyone, to Wrestling Unwrapped to the Max. Backlash 2016. That's right, we're going to get into it hot and heavy. Smackdown Live's first inaugural pay-per-view, and we are excited about getting into everything about it. But before we do, we've got to let you know who's on the show. I'm your host, Gary Vaughn. Of course, with me, Mr. Patrick Ketza.
Pleasure to be here and prove myself to be the face that runs this place. Oh, hi, Sean.
Oh,
Love it.
We're going here.
Yeah, and that's Sean Garmer you're hearing in kind of questioning Patrick Ketza.
You know, Patrick always forgets that I had the button that says end.
Oh, that's cold. That is very cold. And tonight's referee, Mr. Paul Leeser.
I'm in for a tough one tonight, aren't I, Gary?
This is no holds barred, so sorry. But yeah, here we are, guys, and we've got a good show to talk about, and there's going to be so much, fun we can have here. Once again, we want to let everybody know that you can find us, of course, if you subscribe to the W2M network. You already have us, but you can find us there if not. And of course, there's also another great place to find this show, and that's right, www.w2mnet.com. That's right. That's another great place you can go, and you can find us there. That's as easy as pie to go check us out. It's going to be a lot of fun for you guys to, go check out all the other content we have. We have a big wrestling section there, so you don't want to miss any of the action. Just throw that out there for you guys if you don't know about it already. So you guys ready to talk about Backlash? I am. Let's get into the first big match that happened, and that, of course, is this WWE World Heavyweight Championship match that took place between Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles. And, boy, I don't know if it was a surprise. A lot of people did predict AJ Styles to walk away as champion, but we weren't unsure. There's a lot of different things going on in WWE and different, mindsets going on, but here we are. AJ Styles is now a WWE champion. It's kind of weird, Paul.
Man, I don't know if it's weird. It's certainly well-deserved. The guy has worked everywhere. Has become a top guy no matter where he's worked. This match was great. I think they told a really good story. I'm sure we're going to talk about the finish a good bit on here, but I didn't mind it so much. One, it keeps Dean in the title picture, and two, he might have beaten Cena clean, but he had to go through all this extra work to go over Dean, so I think that speaks highly of what they want to do with Dean, hopefully going on to the future. And man, this was great. AJ Styles cannot have a bad match on pay-per-view. It's impossible.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're right. And that finish that Paul is talking about here was, of course, a distraction. The referee falls down. Of course, nut shot. AJ Styles got on Dean Ambrose, and now of course hits the Styles Clash to get that victory. What do you think, Patrick? It's kind of expected with heel AJ, but on the other hand, we may have wanted him to go over clean. How did you feel about it?
I found it to be kind of weird, just in the grand scheme of things, considering the fact that, like we just mentioned, AJ beat John Cena clean in the middle of the ring just 1 month ago. But at the same time, they went for, I think it ended up being 25 minutes on the dot. And for a good chunk of the match, you just had AJ just beating Dean into the ground, and Dean kind of kicked it out of just everything that AJ, gave to him. So you could kind of put it up as AJ just got frustrated, saw the opportunity, and took it. That's how I'm kind of looking at it, is that he just let his frustration and his anger boil over more than anything. I'm perfectly fine with how the match ended, and I couldn't be more thrilled to see AJ Styles, win yet another big one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is something that's, really interesting because, AJ Styles definitely deserves to be a champion, deserves to be a champion in WWE. Paul already talked about it. He's been a champion everywhere he's gone. But Sean, after all the finish and everything, it's cool to see that he does have this opportunity. But, after actually seeing that belt on him, it's a little bit of a shocker because for so long, he was not tied to this company. In fact, people said he would never be here. Now he's here. Now he's actually a champion, and I don't know. I mean, that's the only reason I think it's weird. Otherwise, it's deserved, and this match kind of proves that he deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, like Paul said, you can't have a bad match on pay-per-view. This was another one. It went a long while as well. They had to fill that main event match time, and they certainly did. Yeah, this was another one. You know what? For a long time, I was sitting there going, "Oh, well, he's not winning. He's being too cocky. He's very much gloating about everything that he's doing here. Even in the match, he was really beating Dean down and everything. But he just wins surprisingly. No big deal with the Styles Clash after the low blow, and now he's your champion. I mean, the dude has now won everything, and it's absolutely amazing that you've got to this point. Look at all the people that said, well, you'll never see the main event, AJ Styles. But not only has he seen the main event, he's won the damn biggest championship in the entire company.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what's so weird? I mean, I still consider that, I guess, the major title, even though, Raw has their own with a Universal title. So that's what's kind of cool about this. I think I would not be so impressed if this was a Universal belt, even though, don't get me wrong, you got to respect it. But with this being from the lore of all the past champions in the WWE, this is really neat that he does get to hold this one. I'm surprised they didn't find a way for him to hold another title besides this one. But then again, I think he deserves it. So I'm excited for AJ Styles. I think this is a big deal. It's great that he's going to go down in the history books along with the other guys that, have those giant names, like The Rock and everybody else. So very, very cool. Anybody else have anything else you want to say about this match? Anything, other questions? I mean,
what? God.
No, I was just going to say, if to continue on the talk of the finish, the nut shot had been sort of the calling card of this feud so far, which is kind of lame in the build-up, but it pays off here, and I think that's kind of nice. And really, I'm curious where you go from here. Obviously Dean has the automatic rematch, but how do you escalate at that next step?
That's the thing. That's the big question for me as well, because of course Dean, getting his rematch is obvious. But from there, where are they going? This guy is going to be the most arrogant jerk you can find on the roster. But who's that next guy on the SmackDown roster he's going to face? Who is the guy that's going to be relevant to him? And is it Bray Wyatt? We got to get Bray Wyatt out of the situation he's in with, of course, Randy Orton. All the other guys on the roster, you just kind of look and say, I don't know. There's some great talent on this roster, Patrick, but I don't know. Who do you think could be that next guy to face against AJ?
Oh, just for the shiggles of it, let's give Ziggler a shot. Why not?
Again?
Why not?
I think it's dead set, as we've talked about, Randy Orton.
I wouldn't have a problem with that considering what he pulled off with The Miz tonight.
But that was all Ziggler.
Wait, so that wasn't all Ziggler. The Miz had parts in that too. Let's not,
I'm not saying it's all Ziggler, but that might have been the best wrestling match I've ever seen The Miz work in my life.
But very true.
I'll
very
just,
true.
I mean, yeah, the SmackDown roster's got a load of talent, but the problem is, you don't really have anybody that's really big enough now. Your top players are AJ and Dean because everybody else is either on Raw or not there. And yeah, Orton would be great, but at this point, because of what happened tonight, how long is Orton not going to be cleared? I mean, once we get to what the hell happened there, but the question is, when would they be able to give it to Orton, and when would you do that? Because I almost feel like you would save Orton for the next Big Five pay-per-view now and Survivor Series, so you have to get through No Mercy first.
Mm-hmm. That's the big question, and really, I mean, that's why SmackDown Live. Hopefully, go ahead.
Well, I mean, like with what they did with Dean, it just makes sense. Like you do that at No Mercy. You do it again at No Mercy. I mean, unless they're gonna do. I mean, they could. It's so long in between. They could do it again on SmackDown and then just, put and do Bray and Randy Orton on SmackDown, and then you push Randy and AJ for the next one. I don't.
But isn't this the reason why we like SmackDown Live? Is there's a possibility that some of these guys are usually hanging around the mid card to actually grow their character to get to the main event and not be pushed down by other thought processes we've seen when they were a combined brand?
There is certainly that. That mid card pack is much larger than the guys you got at the top, right? So unless you do a title change with Miz or something like that, who I think could arguably challenge for the world title, really, and I mean you're down Del Rio on this brand now too, so I mean you lost a guy who I would have considered to be in your top 6 as far as who could work around that championship, and I don't know how you fill that hole and much less try to elevate the rest of these guys, who some of them have been sort of shaky since SmackDown started.
Very true. Well, let's move away from the world title picture. Let's go ahead and head over to something you guys were already talking about, the Intercontinental Championship held by Miz, and he faced off against Dolph Ziggler in a match that was, I think, Paul, you've already alluded to it, one of the best maybe Miz has worked in a while. Very aggressive, out to prove a point because of his whole, banter between him and Daniel Bryan. I think that's part of it, and of course, everybody else on the internet is saying what they say about him. I think that's basically what they were trying to prove here. At the end of the day, though, the finish here ends up being Maurice maces or sprays something in the face of Dolph Ziggler, which is, of course, a big distraction, and we get the victory for The Miz, basically. So, saying that, once again, not a clean finish here, but The Miz still wins, and, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was okay with it. It's what you expect out of The Miz. What are you going to do, But, Sean, I mean, what were your thoughts on this?
I mean, this was fantastic. This was freaking great. I mean, as Paul said, the best Miz match I think you're ever going to see. This kind of makes me think back to that underrated Raw match between the two that kind of, goes back in legend. But that's sort of what I was thinking of when I'm thinking of this match as well. Just these two went out there. They had to use up a lot of time because you have less matches on this show, and it's man. I mean, yeah, they went around and they kind of switched what body part they're working at different parts, which is the only thing that kind of bothered me a little bit. You start working the shoulder, well, you go away from that, and then you start working the leg, and that kind of factored into the finish. So at least you had some of that work matter. But aside from that, I mean, these two just they worked really well together, and you have Maurice get in there at the end to make Miz the heel, right? So you'd work this match clean pretty much the entire time, and then right at the end, same thing with the main event, that damn heel, he had to do that last thing to get the win because Dolph had thwarted him at every turn, and Miz couldn't do any more. So, man, I just thought, man, this is great.
What do you think, Patrick?
What do you know? The coward won in a cowardice way. Okay. We'll give credit where it's due, as much as it sucks to have to say it. Yes, this was actually a very good match, which, for me, begs the question. Dolph Ziggler got a great match with Miz. Dean Ambrose got a great match with AJ Styles. Why the hell could they not have a great match together last month at SummerSlam? But in terms of this one,
it was a different kind of match, though. That was meant for Dean to just have this decisive win. This was meant to be more of a, I guess, Dolph sort of giving it one last hurrah, because then he would be losing to. I mean, he was. Miz was trying to prove he's not a coward, and Dolph was trying to do what he does, which is win matches and go out there and steal the show. So.
And he did. I just wonder. It's like why have him win in a coward? Well, that's probably the entire point, is having him win in a cowardice fashion, but then insist he's not a coward. But I mean, yeah, this was a very, very good match, and yeah, the finish to it pissed me off to no end. But this was a case where, okay, that's what it was supposed to do. Still don't like him. Still want the belt off of him. But yeah, it's a real good match tonight with Miz and Ziggler.
Yeah, I mean, the best Miz match I've ever seen in my entire life. This was absolutely incredible. They worked so great. And I think the best part about this isn't even the match. The Miz is, like, we've been getting the runaround from Debray that they're not going to have them together on screen. Lo and behold, they have that segment in the back where Miz wants to renegotiate his contract and is pissing Daniel Bryan off and poking that bear some more. And then he comes out in the match and uses his moves, which is even more incredible. So, I mean, feels like there's something building there that hopefully will come across in this next arc between Miz and Ziggler. Because obviously this isn't over with Maurice getting involved, but God, I'd be okay with another one of these matches again for sure. This was wow.
Yeah, I agree, and it was exciting, and it was something that we thought we could get, but we weren't sure that they were going to give us what we wanted, right? So I was very happy with it, and I think a lot of other people are. And once again, I mean, the Miz is doing an excellent job. If you ask me personally, I think he's doing just a great job on presenting himself and doing everything he needs to do in the ring. Now it's going to just kind of all gelling together, if you ask me. So I'm happy with him. I really am, and I think a lot of people are down on him just because he's the Miz, right? I mean, people have been annoyed by him. People hate, of course, his title run, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, what he's doing right now is working. And it actually means something compared to some of the other stuff we're seeing in wrestling, at least with the WWE, So I'm happy with it. And of course, I just will say this, watching this match, I think they did some great camera work here. As I watched it, man, I think they did a great job of getting close on some of the facials, and of course, just the way they got some of these shots done. I was very happy with it. One of the shots, in fact, Sean, I looked at it and I thought, you know what? If I was casting a movie, to be honest with you, if I was casting a weird horror film, I mean, the Miz would look good covered in blood. So just a hair.
Maurice would. So.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, that's an obvious thing. Covered in anything.
Maurice has the two best reasons for Miz being on my screen.
Yeah. Oh boy. So, all right. Well, let's move away from the Intercontinental.
I mean, I wish that they would have chopped that kid off the screen.
God, that segment was awful.
The cheap plug for that Nickelodeon show.
I was trying to avoid that, Sean.
Well, I just wanted to state it because it did involve the Miz, and we're talking about this match. So,
no, you're right. We have to say something about it, but yeah, that was just disgusting. Oh my, the kid. how much does he make? I'm sure he makes way more money than I make, and that was the worst acting job I've seen in a long time. And I've watched the Bellas on WB for a regular.
That's why
how many years?
That's why it's another one of those Nickelodeon trademarks. So it's another singer that we're gonna make into a. And Nickelodeon's been doing it a hell of a lot more than Disney has over the years. Of just here's a singer. Oh, he's kind of popular. Let's give him a show.
What are you talking about, guys? That was the best acting I've ever seen in my life. It was Oscar-worthy. Maybe Emmy-worthy.
Patrick, you're not far off, and that was actually better than that kid did. So they should have hired you. But I mean, seriously, I'm not kidding. This kid, I was wondering the camera angle of his face. I thought they must have had something implanted in his ear, some kind of earpiece, and said, "Okay, Oscar uses this all the time. We're going to tell you what to say," and he did. I mean, Oscar did a way better job in NXT than this kid did, and I'm sure English is his first language. So, anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about something else that I'm sure Patrick is wanting to get out and really talk about, and that, of course, is the women of SmackDown Live, and they had a six-pack challenge on this pay-per-view, and this was, a pretty big deal. We had, of course, Becky Lynch, we had Naomi, we had Carmella, we also had Alexa Bliss, Nikki Bella. Did I mention Becky Lynch? I don't know if I did or not already, but we had the six-pack challenge happen. And
I think
who did I miss?
Who you actually missed? You only missed one.
I know. I listed everybody, I think, for the most part. But anyway, this was an interesting, bout. I mean, really did feel like it was actually really well done for me personally, Patrick. I don't know. How did you feel about this? And, with Becky Lynch, not only that, winning this championship.
Sean had talked to me earlier this week. It wanted an answer of who I thought, or who I wanted to win the match. And I, without a shadow of a doubt, said Becky Lynch. And I knew somebody who was front row, or either front or second row, at the show tonight simply because of this match, because he wanted Becky Lynch to win. So, Steve, if you're listening, there's your plug. I could not be happier right now. Like, seriously. There were times where the match was a little bit sloppy. Surprise, surprise. But it honestly seemed like a really good match. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the second longest match of the night. Granted, I was surprised when all of a sudden Mauro Ranallo announces, oh, by the way, it's elimination, which would explain why the match is like 18 minutes long, I think. But it was not a bad match by any means. I do feel bad for Natalya because pretty certain that she was stuck doing all of the Tower of Doom spots simply because I think she actually is the strongest out of all of them and could probably pull them off without, the person at the top of the tower falling on their head. But it's for Becky, it's a night like 14 years in the making, because that's how long she's been in here. And it's really never won a major title. She never won a Shimmer title, or WSU, or any of the major independent women's belts. So to see her win this belt here, I could not be more thrilled for her.
Yeah, I know, and it is exciting, and I think it basically made that a big deal at the end of this match, talking about her being, in fact, a flight attendant, and the fact that she's worked from a long way to become, what she is now, and for her to win this championship, she's emotional. This is a very big deal. I thought they did a great job selling that point, and by the way, Natalya is the one I did not name in that whole list, so yes, she is the one.
Even Gary forgets.
I do. But let me mention real quick, if anyone wants to know the eliminations, Alexa Bliss was the first to lose, which was depressing. But yes, she was. Then I think Natalya was next. We had Naomi. Then, of course, Nikki Bella.
No, I think Naomi lost before Natalya. Right?
Did she? Okay.
Yeah, she was second.
Second. Okay, there you go, guys. Thank you for the correction. And then we know that Carmella rolled up Nikki Bella for the win, so that was a cheap victory. And then, of course, Becky Lynch took care of business to beat Carmella. But I want to say this: very interesting new hairstyle for Alexa Bliss. That was kind of fun. And then, of course, Carmella. Actually, I personally, guys, I think that she actually did really well in this, and for my sake, I've really been hard on her, but I think she did great against Nikki Bella and continue with that storyline. So I think a couple of highlights here besides Becky Lynch. But I mean, what do you think, Paul?
I enjoyed this match. There are some rough spots here and there, but I mean, honestly, I think what you got by the end was still something pretty solid. Alexa Bliss, I thought looked really good, and I mean, it looked like she was going for a Harley Quinn look here, so that's kind of cool. I thought Naomi did well too. Carmella, I don't know. A lot of people still don't care about her. I still don't think she gave you a great reason to care about her. Although that little shoving thing with Nikki, I thought was kind of funny. But Becky got to shine here, and that's what counts. And hats off to her for winning that championship. She absolutely deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that they started the show off with this. I thought that they would knock out one of the tag title, the semifinal thing first, since they had to wrestle twice. But I really freaking enjoyed this. I thought it was really good for the fact of everything aside from Carmella. You had, the Tower of Doom spots. Everybody had their little moment there. That you got the stuff between Nikki and Carmella, which was good. But when it got down to, like, I get what they were trying to do. And it's fine, like Carmella, and they wanted to continue the story with Carmella and Nikki, and they can do that with what happened here because Carmella eliminated her and all that. But to me, this should have been about making sure that you really make this feel, when you get to the end, this epic encounter between the two, whoever it is that you feel are the two that should be the headliners of this division. And the Carmella stuff was just, it was bad. It was just like, okay, her offense is her just slapping Becky around. Mm-hmm. That's terrible. It's absolutely just shitty compared to that. All the other women that you have that got eliminated before her, I get it, it's about the thing, but you could have had her eliminate Nikki and still get eliminated before then, and it would have been okay. I don't know that this really does anything else for Carmella. It doesn't. To me, it didn't make me think that Carmella's the number 2 in the division, because you can tell by the quality of work that she's not. So, I mean, Becky deserves it. I'm happy for her that she had her moment. That was great. I'm glad she got that. She's now you just got Bayley that's got to win one of the championships, and all the horsewomen have won at least once.
Can I do something really weird right now? And this is going to be a very shocking moment for this, this group of guys, and we're doing podcasts. But I'm going to defend Carmella for a second here. And why I'm defending her is for the fact that, yes, probably not the right opponent. I think Sean is right on that. I mean, just her offense was not great.
I mean, to me, it should have been Nikki and Becky fighting it out for the...
And I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that, but I think that's down the line. I think right now, Carmella, the reason they're throwing her in here is kind of like what you see in sports where they throw in a rookie into a starting role of, this person needs to learn. And the only way they're going to learn is if they get put in a place. And I think at this moment, they want her to be a big-time heel. They want people to hate her. They want to put as much heat on her as they can. And that's a good way to stick her against the number 1 face in that division to get that heat, to get people to hate her. Yeah, offense sucked. We could get technical. But at the same point, I think it's kind of in a way, if you ask me, it's telling me that they actually want Carmella to do well. They didn't make her and put her in Alexa Bliss's fight. Trust me, I think Alexa Bliss deserved that spot more than Carmella. And I'm more of an Alexa Bliss fan. But I think Carmella held her own for the most part. But yeah, I agree with your analogy or your thought process, analysis of, not a great offense, but still, we'll see. All right. Well, let's, we talked quite a bit about the women. Let's go ahead and move on. And we're going to talk about the tag stuff, but I want to talk about this first, and that's Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. And what we got in this show was earlier in the night got to see Bray Wyatt beating down Randy Orton, and the referees, of course, separating these guys. And at the end of it, we see Randy Orton holding his knee, his leg, and we know there's an injury there. We get to it later on in the show, and we see Bray Wyatt come down to the ring, but no Randy Orton. And so they say that, Randy Orton's unable to compete. He's not cleared to get inside the ring. So Bray Wyatt has him count the 10 for the forfeit, and, of course, now Bray Wyatt wins by forfeit, but that's not the end of the story here, guys. We also have Kane come down and actually have a match with Bray Wyatt, where at the end of the day, they decided that it was going to be a no-holds-barred match. We had a lot of action in and out of the ring, a chair being used heavily with Bray Wyatt, and of course, Kane used it to his advantage at times, and Randy Orton comes down, RKO on Bray Wyatt, and that causes the finale where, of course, Kane chokeslams Bray Wyatt in the 1, 2, 3. Kane wins. Bray Wyatt loses. Randy Orton gets him back here. I don't know. I mean, this was okay. This is definitely not what I wanted out of this. I really didn't want Randy Orton to win, but I also don't know if I want Bray Wyatt to still lose. Wow, Paul. I mean, you kind of talked about a no contest when we actually did our preview on Wrestling to the Max. This was not that.
This was the only real beef I had the entire night with this show. There is no reason in anybody's sane, conscious mind why Bray Wyatt should lose to Kane at this moment. Randy Orton is on a very different level than Bray right now. You have Bray. I think if you have Bray eat that RKO and the chokeslam and then kick out and come out and beat Kane out of nowhere real fast afterwards, would have done so much more for Bray than this loss did. And yeah, you can say he needs the feud with Randy or whatever, but Randy just showing up already does enough, and, winning by forfeit and all that stuff, the attack in the back, everything they had already set up. This seemed completely unnecessary, and there's no reason for it, and they deserve a big slap in the face for even thinking that this was a right move.
To me, this undoes everything you did at the beginning of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier when you do the forfeit, you actually made Bray look good with that stuff there. Then you go and you do this where he eats the RKO, then you cause him to lose to freaking Kane of all people. Now I can easily see on SmackDown on Tuesday, you have Kane and Bray wins, so they could justify we had Kane win so that Bray could get his vengeance later on TV. It doesn't all have to be about the pay-per-view or whatnot, but just, I don't know about kicking out of both of those moves because they don't really like having people kick out of the RKO that much. And so I can see where they don't want to do that, but even then, just have it have it end or have, I don't know. They could have done anything but have Kane win at that point, and then not to mention the match was just, it was okay.
It was blah. Yeah, there wasn't a lot to it.
I mean, it's Kane in 2016. I mean, you're gonna get what you're gonna get.
Patrick, I mean, I know you have this giant excitement about you to talk about this, don't you? We lost him because of this match.
It was boring. Let's be honest.
It was boring.
It was, and I. All right. So the thing I heard going in the dirt sheet crap was Randy Orton couldn't pass concussion protocol. That's what I had heard pretty much the entire day as to why he wasn't cleared. Why haven't hit the RKO, which has you very closely, or has you very close to landing on your head? knowing that he can't pass the concussion protocol, why even have him hit the damn move? You know, why even have him come out? Why not just have... I would have had absolutely zero problem if you kind of have Randy Orton play mind games on Bray Wyatt, and as he's close to the victory, you pull the old theme hits, but he doesn't come out. Bray, that catches Bray's attention, he turns around, chokeslam, Kane wins. And then you could have Bray beat Kane and say the only reason he lost to Kane was, Randy Orton's theme hitting, or in this case, Randy Orton hitting the RKO. So, I don't really have a problem with Kane beating Bray, because that can be very easily rectified if they choose to rectify it. Granted, this is the WWE we're talking about. But it's just... I almost wonder, is the bigger complaint that Kane won, or is the bigger complaint how Kane won?
Both. Equally big complaints.
That we had a match with Kane, period.
Yeah, that's my big complaint. And I love Kane, but I mean...
You know what, yeah, so let's say, Gary was like the biggest Kane fan at one point.
Yeah, I mean... here's
I'm
the
sorry,
thing.
Gary.
Well,
I'm sorry.
he wasn't my favorite of all time. I just defended him because people were crapping on him all the time. And I mean, I'm not a big fan of Kane right now. I want to vote for him for election for wherever he's going to be doing whatever libertarian stuff. It's just because he's Kane, but I don't want to vote for him to have matches for sure.
You need to have Rhino and Kane have a match for politics.
And I think Rhino, he's in a better shape right now to be in the ring, just because, I mean, it's more, I don't know. I just think it's the Kane thing's done. It just is. I hate saying that, but it just is. And the concussion thing, I mean, there's a way around that for Randy Orton. I mean, I'm sure what happened is WWE said, look, you can't have the match because of concussion. He called up Cam Newton and said, tell your doctors to talk to me. And call WWE. Okay, Cam Newton's okay, I'm okay, let's do it. And we'll deal with the concussion symptoms later. So... it's what it is. What it is. People are going to do what they do. It's money. So Randy Orton is going to get in the ring and do something, even though they probably are wise not to have him do it. That's just the way it works, I guess. But I mean, none of us are really happy with this. So Bray Wyatt, this does nothing for you. It does not help you. Once again, here you are. You're still in limbo, and not many people are excited about you anymore. It's sad. Anyway, before I get too depressed, I want to talk about some other great stuff, and that's the tag team titles. And, of course, we had to have a match that kind of, figured out who got to actually face off against Heath Slater and Rhino for those belts. And so we had the Usos and Hype Bros face off against each other to see who the number one contender would be. And, pretty interesting stuff. Of course, we don't have the Usos coming out like they used to. They're heels now, so they kind of come out slow to their music. That's kind of fun. And we have a pretty decent match here. I didn't hate it. It was okay. Nothing that blew me out of the water. Sean, what did you think about this? Of course, the Usos are victorious.
Probably should just do both the matches together, honestly.
Oh, okay, if you want to, we can do that. So, Usos win. We move on later in the night. And, of course, we have, fan favorites now. It's kind of weird to say that, but Heath Slater and Rhino come out, and they come and do their shtick, come out and just get ready for this match, and the Usos appear. And once again, I mean, the Usos are doing their thing. I mean, playing the heel roles up pretty well, if you ask me, and I really am shocked to say this, but they found a way for, Heath Slater and Rhino to get the victory. I really didn't think they were. I personally thought that the Usos were going to be the guys that held the belts. But at the end of the day, Heath Slater eats a super kick. And then, of course, Rhino gets the spear without the referee seeing. Heath Slater gets the cover, 1, 2, 3, and your new SmackDown Live WWE Tag Champs are here, and they are ready to rock and roll. This is exciting, though. I love the the interview that happened afterwards. That was kind of cool too, with Heath Slater and Rhino celebrating. That was great. So at the end of the day, what do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, I was totally shocked. I thought, with a lot of everybody else, that there's no way they're giving this to Heath Slater. You're not telling the story. This is about the Usos. This is about American Alpha. Like, they're gonna have Slater be the loser, And it's like, wow, they actually just went with it. They went with it and gave it to Slater, and he's getting a double wide, baby. And
Kids getting above ground pool.
exactly. I mean, it's like awesome freaking story that you get to tell now with him and Rhino being champs, and don't know how long it's gonna last, but hey, it makes you happy in the end. So,
Well, what do you think, Patrick?
I was considering going, but I wasn't sure. When the hell in your life would you ever have the honor and privilege to say Heath Slater is one of the hottest things going in the WWE today?
seriously, and then he's shocked himself. He's like, "Do you hear these people?"
Uh-huh.
But,
The only problem is they're actually cheering.
Yeah, like, seriously, he got one of the loudest reactions of the entire... Like, nobody gave a crap about some of these... Like, I think it was the first... Like, Hype Bros and the Usos, nobody cared about that match. But as soon as you get the Usos and Slater and Rhino, it's like, oh my god, the roof just went off. Like, it's... Wow.
Yeah. But I'm absolutely with Sean. I'm so glad that they did this, but I can't believe they did this. That they actually gave it to Heath Slater and Rhino. Rhino is a champion in the WWE in 2016.
And he's getting over, too. The fans stand for him.
Is, yeah, and I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I do kind of wonder if part of this has to do with him running in the election for state representative. If he's going to go to a debate or something with the Smackdown Tag Team Championship on his shoulder, and Kurt Angle as his manager. But Heath Slater and Rhino are tag team champions in the WWE. What the hell? I should say, the one gripe I had, if you're gonna go and change the Usos, change everything. It's cool that they're, totally changing characters. They're dark, kind of brooding heels, with the strict white and black, none of the paint, none of the war dance, at the beginning of their intro anymore, except the one issue I have. They're coming out dressed, in straight black, no face paint, nothing. But then when you watch their entrance video, blam! Still all of their face stuff. Uso crazy on the walkway, play hard in the paint, up on the Titantron. No, that's not going to work. All right? It's one or the other. Either change everything or don't change anything. So that's probably my one gripe about this. But
I didn't notice the Titantron at all. But
how? I honestly have to wonder how, because it was so different from what they're trying to be that for me it was impossible to miss it.
Because I was actually looking at them, just the fact that they're almost like the opposite of they're we're wearing white hoodies instead of black stuff of the club. Like, we're like the opposite of the club.
I thought they were trying to be the elite, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm done. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good. The Usos and the Hype Bros match I thought was fine. I really enjoyed that finish though, of them really going after Ryder's leg and working it over to get the finish there. Rhino and Heath Slater, I mean, talk about, you invested in this story pretty heavily. It's paid off for them in dividends, I think. Rhino and Heath, like, that might have been the loudest pop of the night is when they won those damn belts. And the crowd was pretty loud when AJ got that pinfall, so. Yeah, Heath Slater, I mean, double wide, baby. What else can you say? He's gonna get the double wide, guys. I mean, God, I'm so happy for that guy. He's great.
Beulah's gonna go home happy. That's right. She's gonna get her double wide.
Maybe you can get Rhino some better saltines now with the paycheck.
Oh man. Well, let's not get too fancy.
Upgrade to the solid craft cheese singles.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
Well, but I mean, also, people talk about the hard work pays off with AJ. How many years has Heath Slater just been toiling away, being a jobber and everything? And
he was in their development system for 4 years.
Yeah, and look at that. Now he waits all this time. Yeah, he's won tag titles before or whatever, right? He's been in the he was in the Nexus. I mean, that was a big thing. Let's not mistake that. But I mean, like, to be over when you've been Heath Slater for so long, and I don't feel this is a Santino Marella thing. I feel like this is a thing that they can go with, and people would legit get behind Heath Slater, and I don't know how long it could go. I'm sure he could get an IC title challenge out of it for the Miz. I mean, that's a perfect thing for the Miz.
That's a dynamite feud of a wannabe Hollywood star facing a guy who's just wrestling from a double wide.
I'm almost afraid that it's going to be like Zack Ryder winning the Intercontinental Championship.
Oh, sorry.
And
I'm
kind of afraid that they're going to end up losing it Tuesday to the Usos.
I wouldn't be
surprised. It could happen. I kind of hope they run with it at least till No Mercy. I mean, these guys don't need the belts forever, but I mean, at least long enough so we can get the image of Rhino doing a Tell Hall debate with a tag title over his shoulder. I need that picture in my life.
Imagine if he loses the belt on Election Day. It's a possibility.
It could be, yeah.
Is it after Survivor Series?
I don't know.
No, it would be well before, because it would be November 8th.
Oh.
November 8th would be the general election. That would probably be his election, too.
Huh. That'd be funny.
That would be pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be, something that it's surprisingly, like we keep talking about, something that people are going to love, and just to see the celebration with Heath Slater and buy more, video packages of him with Beulah and with all the kids and the celebration and the new double wide. That's going to be a lot of fun to see, and of course all the other stuff that entails. But once again, I mean, now with the tag team division has a target, and these two guys will be the target for the Usos, for everybody else involved, and so that's going to be the kind of interesting thing about this. Who's going to be involved after the Usos? Of course, American Alpha's up for the grabs. They definitely want to get their chance because they were basically shorted by that Usos attack. So we will see. Well, that pretty much wraps up.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
The best part of the entire thing was Heath Slater's promo at the end. He was like, "This is the greatest moment ever." Oh, maybe the birth of some of my kids. Whatever. But this is the greatest or whatnot. It's like, oh my god, this is I want the scene of him coming back to the house and the wife is like, "What? Some of your kids?"
Oh yeah.
Either that, or she's like, "Oh yeah, this is the greatest thing in your life." They're just dancing around with the title. It's great.
Or better yet, have one or two of the kids. Daddy, were you happier to win the belt than my birth?
God. I was surprised they didn't have the kids there.
Wow.
Just to celebrate with him or whatever.
I'm surprised they don't either. I'm surprised. We'll see if they take pictures, with the kids with the belt. But I don't know if that's going to happen. ESPN may have people start to say things about them, so they may not want to do that. You never know.
Gosh.
I know it's terrible. But anyway, enough about that.
What
belt.
did ESPN say? Something?
I'm making reference to Kevin Owens' son having the belt.
Oh.
Yeah, ESPN may have some other guys start making fun of him or something. So they may say something.
Absolute scumbags.
That's right.
Yeah.
Respect the gingers, for God's sakes. Anyway, let's move on. And we're about to rate this thing, but before we do, just to let everybody know, there was another match on the card. It was pre-show match, and it was Baron Corbin facing off against Apollo Crews. I think about all of us didn't watch it. If one of us watched it, I don't know who watched. I didn't watch it. I know a few of you guys didn't. So let's just say this. Baron Corbin wins with the end of days. I think that's enough said. Unless you guys want to disagree and say something. But there you go. Let's rate this thing, guys. I mean,
I was going to say, you know who the winner of this entire... Like, that LED post. I mean, that LED post got so many hits on this entire show. I don't remember what match didn't have some moment where somebody hit the LED post. I mean, jeez.
They're pretty new. They're breaking them in.
Yeah, and then I was a little scared for AJ and Dean on that one spot where AJ has to flip so he doesn't land around on his neck.
Wow. Lots of exciting spots in this and scary things as well. But let's go ahead and jump into this rating. I'm really curious, once again, how you guys are going to rate this. We're going to do our normal thing here. I want to hear your rating, of course, scale of 1 to 10, and give me your MVP of the night when you do it as well. Patrick, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go ahead and give. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to give it a 7.5. Because by no means, absolutely no means, was this a bad show at all. And I won't say it was. But you can kind of tell that I think there's some things that still have to be hashed out in terms of single brand pay-per-views, since obviously this was the first single brand pay-per-view. I think for the first time, since that was the pay-per-view before WrestleMania.
So, is it still No Way Out?
No, it wasn't this year.
Fastlane or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So, for the first time since the pay-per-view before Fastlane, or since Fastlane, rather, this pay-per-view ended at, 40. So, I think 6 matches might not quite be enough for, a 3-hour-ish show. And just at times the crowd seemed out of it, and at times the show felt a little weird. But the matches themselves were very, very good for the most part. If maybe a couple moments that were boring, see the No Holds Barred match. And so I will still give it a good score, but I would probably only give it a 7.5. In terms of MVP, for me, it's indisputable, without a doubt, the only man in history to ever win the NWA World Title, the TNA World Title, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and now the WWE World Champion, the face that runs the place, AJ Styles. And no, Kurt Angle does not count towards that.
I don't think Kurt Angle ever won the NWA World Title.
He may not have it, but a lot of people like to argue that he had the IWGP title, which he didn't.
Right, yeah. Inoki Genome run doesn't count, yeah.
But yeah, without a doubt, for me, the MVP is the new world champion, AJ Styles.
Technically, didn't the title change count though in the history?
I don't think so. I don't think Lesnar to Angle counts.
Ah, okay. I think they just added it in there that he lost it to him, and that's it.
Yeah.
Eh.
All right. Well, Paul, what do you think? What's your rating here?
God, I was thinking 7.5 too, but I'm kind of on the fence with that. So I'm just gonna go with an 8. I think this was a really great show. Yeah, it had its problems here or there, but that IC title match was great. That world title match was great. You have the terrific moment of Slater and Rhino and Becky winning those new championships, and I mean, really outside of the Bray Wyatt booking debacle, I think everything else was pretty grand. So I mean, I continue to want to watch SmackDown more than I want to watch Raw.
Who's your MVP?
I mean, AJ Styles, I think absolutely has to be the MVP, but there's a really large part of me that wants to give it to Slater because who'd have thought, right? I mean, absolutely incredible.
Sean?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the 7.5. This was a damn good pay-per-view. I enjoyed the heck out of it. The only thing you can really downgrade it on is the Bray and Kane stuff, but everything leading up to that was good until you had to endure that match. But just outside of that, you got the surprise of Slater. A lot of people were thinking Nikki, so you got almost a surprise of Becky as well. And then a freaking over-deliver match with Dolph and Miz, and then the damn great main event as well, and AJ freaking winning. I mean, talk about like you have now felt that the new era, or whatever you want to call it, has started, or what SmackDown is. SmackDown, I feel like, now has this identity to itself that it didn't have, I think, really until you had this show. You have now cemented where everybody is, and you now have the titles in play. Just this is for a single brand of pay-per-view, Clash of Champions has a lot to live up to now.
It sure does. It really does, and that's going to be the next big show. We'll be trying to figure out if it's going to be equal to this one. And 7.5 sounds good to me. I mean, I really want to go to 8, but there's a few things that keep me from it, like Otunga on commentary. I mean, it's killing me. I just, oh my God, I'm having.
I didn't care.
These shows would matter so much more if he was off. But anyway.
Wait, so you like JVL more than?
No, I don't. Mauro Ranallo is the only thing keeping me caring about that commentary team. But yes, I do like you more than Otunga. Yeah, I definitely do. Otunga just, it sounds like me doing it, and that's not, not something I want to hear. I want to hear somebody who, I don't know, just better than that. Anyway, so I think really you guys pointed out all the great things. Lots of great matches. I think that what really puts this over is the fact that we had new debuting titles with, of course, the inaugural champions being crowned. So that's exciting. That's a big deal. That's why I almost went to 8. But I think that's also kind of cheating in a way because it's something brand new and shiny. So I'm not going to do that. But anyway, good stuff. And, of course, the only thing I can hope coming out of this is that some way, somehow, Bray Wyatt finds a path that is not like tonight's. But guys, we did a pretty good job here. I really enjoyed this review for Backlash 2016. Of course, if you guys want to find more content with us, all of us are involved on a special network. It's called the W2M Network. Of course, we have a lot of great shows on there. You don't want to miss it. If you're not subscribed, go subscribe now, because not only are you going to get these great reviews that we do over every pay-per-view that come out, but you can also get our regular shows. Myself, Sean, and Paul are a part of Wrestling to the Max. So if you want to go check our shows out, they are right there. And of course, Patrick, you got a show on that network as well. Why don't you give some people some info?
Will indeed. Wrestling Unwrapped. Finally, after almost 2 months off, came back last week where Harry and I talked about our favorite subject, ourselves. And you laugh, but
I know you're not lying. That's why it's funny.
Yeah, that's why it's funny.
But this next Sunday, we return with one of our regular shows, as Gary and I will be reviewing a show we were supposed to review almost 3 months ago with NCW Femme Fatale, their 5th show, headlined by an international dream match of Lufisto versus Ayako Hamada. And if Harry was here right now, he would probably be mumbling to me the fact that we have to deal with an Anna Manushka match. And, well, for those that don't know, trust me, we'll explain on Sunday. But, yeah so that will be this upcoming Sunday. Hopefully, I'll say around 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Hopefully close to it this time. As we are now switching to our new schedule, which is on off nights from the WWE pay-per-views, which could end up becoming a pain in the ass ourselves.
Yeah, I could definitely get that. So let's hope that the schedule's not too hard on you guys. And definitely, everybody go check out Wrestling Unwrapped. It's a great show. It's a lot of fun. Of course, Patrick and Harry Broadhurst do a great job over there. You need to go check those shows out. And of course, like I said, Wrestling to the Max, we will be doing our regular Raw review coming up. And of course, we also do SmackDown Live reviews as well. So you'll get those shows plus our regular scheduled programs. They are also, parts 1 and part 2. They're available on download on Tuesday morning and of course on Friday morning for you guys. And there'll be some good stuff coming out, and of course, we'll get some more fallout out of Backlash when we do our SmackDown Live review.
Oh, and don't forget Paul's solo effort that he has.
That's
the
right,
Time Machine.
Paul. You need to tell us about this solo effort.
That's right. First episode of the Wrestling Time Machine went up last week. It's me rambling on for 22 minutes trying to establish what the heck I'm going to be doing on that show, which is reviewing retro shows. So I'm going to look at an entire year of a promotion, rate their matches, talk about them, all that good stuff. And sort of try to at least get across where wrestling was at the time frame, too, which is always interesting to me. So we'll have the week off here. The poll will end on the 19th, which you can find on both W2Mnet.com and the Facebook page, the Wrestling the Max Facebook page. So you can vote twice if you want to. And I'll review the winner first, and then we'll go from there sometime after the 19th.
Awesome. So we got some great stuff coming your guys' way. You don't want to miss any of this content. It's all great. Paul just told you how to find it. W2Mnet.com. It's really easy. Go on there and find it. And, of course, if you're just looking for podcasts, all of it's available on the W2M network. Go find it. Subscribe. One click and get you all the great content that you're hearing now. Well, guys, we're done for the night. So we hope that you've enjoyed yourself. And we'll be catching you guys on the flip side. Until next time, if you're not living life to the max.
Not living life at all.
You know it.
Please.
Later.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.